Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dandavat pranam. Krishna Prabhupada. Is my voice clear?
Yes, Prabhu, but it's low.
I mean, if I speak closer to phone, will it be better?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, is this? Oh, I don't know. This voice is low right now.
No, Prabhu, it is good now.
Can we see the presentation?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahivam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Dalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं लंगायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्ता शक्तिकम्। So we will be reviewing the 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita today. It's a short chapter. I think one of the shortest chapter. Only 20 verses. Name of the chapter is Devotional Service. Connection between chapter 11 and chapter 12. After hearing of Lord's inestimable impersonal opulences, Arjuna again wants to hear about devotional service. Also, some persons might mistake the awe-inspiring universal form shown in chapter 11 to be more significant than Krishna's two-armed form. So, Krishna showed universal form in the 11th chapter, and in the end, Arjuna was very much afraid seeing the universal form. We discussed how a devotee seeing the example of Arjuna is not attracted to universal form of Krishna. Then Arjuna was also curious to see the four-handed form which Krishna showed him. And then in conclusion, then Krishna showed his original two-handed form. And then Krishna spoke about the rarity and the supremacy of his two-handed form. And this chapter begins with Arjuna's question, more about devotional service. He has seen all the forms. He now inquired Krishna, should I worship you in your personal form, or should I worship you in your impersonal form? Okay. How are we doing? Is my voice okay? Can we see the screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna. Okay. Now this chapter has three sections. The first part speaks about Bhakti is superior to impersonalism, where we see the question and Krishna describes what is the path of Brahman realization and how Bhakti is superior to Brahman realization. This is first section. Then second is progressive stages of Bhakti, which I am sure we have heard. So only one slide on this. And the last is the 26 qualities Krishna describes in this chapter. Arjuna wants which is more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in devotional service, or worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Which one is superior? Krishna answers, those engaged in devotional service are most perfect because they fix their mind on my personal form, which is in relation to what Krishna spoke as the rare and the supreme is his splendid form, which demigods and sages are aspiring this form and this rare on the form of Krishna. That's he said this is superior. And they are always engaged in worshipping me with faith. This is like in continuation, in line with recommendation by Krishna through all these chapters. And then
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, we cannot hear you, Prabhuji. Yeah, we could hear your voice now.
yeah, if you don't hear a devotee passes single
Yeah,
Bro,
Prabhuji, we
your
cannot
voice is
hear you.
breaking.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, voice is not clear.
Yeah, Prabhuji, from starting we didn't heard anything.
I think we lost Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji is probably rejoining.
Manor Gopal Prabhu, can you give me sharing permission?
Anand Giridhar, can you make Anand Prabhu host?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'll try. How do I do that?
Just click on Prabhuji's name, so you will get the option to make host.
May cost, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
done.
Where did I miss the Zoom? Did we start this slide?
No, Prabhuji, previous only.
Okay. So those who worship Krishna, those who worship unmanifested form, Krishna says will also reach Krishna eventually and surrender. So Krishna says both will attain the same destination. Prabhupada says how can both attain the same destination? He says impersonalist, they may attain Brahman realization, but because it is against the constitutional position of the soul, they fall down. So at some point of time, they will meet devotees. They will start pure devotional service to the personal form of Krishna and attain the same destination. So Krishna says both will attain the same destination. But Prabhupada says one is gradual, one is direct bhakti. And when they come down, they will meet devotees of the Lord, and from there, their direct or pure devotional service will begin. And I was describing the example of four Kumaras who smelled the tulsi from the lotus feet of Krishna, and Sukadev Goswami, who heard Srimad Bhagavatam from disciples of Vyasadeva, and that's how they both began their personal worship. So, from that perspective, like Krishna says, both will attain same destination, and that's from the purport. Now, Krishna describes the characteristic of impersonal conception of absolute truth. Then, like, if somebody asks, okay, what is Brahman realization? What is Brahman? And what is the path to attain Brahman? So, this Krishna describes in these 2-3 verses. So, Brahman is unmanifested in a way we cannot perceive it directly with our senses, unmanifested. It is beyond sense perception. It is all pervading. It is inconceivable. It is unchanging because it's basically effulgence of the Lord. So unchanging, fixed in a way, and immovable. Then how to worship the unmanifested? What do the Jnanis take this path? So how to worship the unmanifested? By controlling various senses, by being equally disposed to everyone, by engaging in welfare of all, difficult for any common man, much penance involved before the ultimate realization of full surrender takes place. In other words, what is Krishna says? Brahman is unmanifested, immovable, fixed, inconceivable, beyond sense perception, and it's basically the path taken by the Jnanis. They are in generally renounced order. They do severe austerities. They go to some kind of forest, read scriptures. Basically, Jnanis. Um, they they are non-envious. They respect everyone because they see Brahman in everyone. So in that way, they are non-envious. Don't engage in self gratification. Strict, severe penances, and that's how eventually they attain Brahman realization. Okay, anything here so far?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You're sleeping.
And you all can still hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then both the path of impersonalist is troublesome and very difficult, Krishna says. Krishna clearly describes, yes, these are two paths. Those who practice devotional service in my personal form are superior. Um, both will lead to the same destination that we discussed. But the path taken by impersonalist is troublesome and very difficult. So we saw there is a path of Gyan, there is path of Bhakti. Gyan is difficult, Bhakti is easy. If somebody says, what is the difference between the path of Gyan, path of Brahman, and path of Bhakti, then these points help to distinguish. Gyan, like why it is difficult, because first thing Prabhupada says is we are embodied, means we have physical form. So meditate on the Lord who has a transcendental physical form is much easier, but meditate on somebody who is without a form is more difficult. So that's one reason it is troublesome. Then study Vedic literatures like Upanishads, it is also very troublesome. Like Mahaprabhu gave chanting, dancing, feasting. So it's like quite joyful. We were there in New Vrindavan this past weekend, and so many devotees that they are jumping and dancing, taking nice prasad. So it is naturally, Krishna says, Susukam Avyayam, very joyfully performed. Mahaprabhu made it very easy. But to perform severe austerities in the forest and reading scriptures, which they cannot understand, and then they do mental speculation, and without any higher taste, controlling the senses. Like for devotees, it is easy to control the senses because they engage the senses in serving Krishna, and by engaging senses serving Krishna, they derive higher taste. Param Drishtva Nivartate. But the path of Gyan is very dry. There is no higher taste. There is strong, like they still need to be have a strong sense control, um, and use their mind just to study various troublesome scriptures. Then severe penances, and they realize only Sat and Chit. It is said Brahman is only Sat feature, Krishna is Satchitananda. Brahman is only Sat, Sat means eternal. Paramatma is Sat and Chit, and Bhagwan is Satchit Ananda. So even if one is aspiring from Brahman, there is no Ananda feature. So that's why the path is dry, and that's why it's troublesome. I mean, naturally, to do something that is like there is no pleasure in doing that, it's troublesome. But to do something which is very easy and joyfully performed is very easy. Then long practice in impersonalism become a source of trouble because he cannot give up this idea. Then another thing Prabhupada says, those who are trying to those who have a conception of impersonalistic conception, when they hear personalist conception, they find it very difficult to relate. So Prabhupada says there's another reason it becomes very troublesome. Better clean slate who doesn't know anything and take a personal path very easy. I have personally seen my own life, people who have impersonalistic conception, they come and their mind is very much disturbed. And then it takes them long time to accept the personal form of Krishna. And still the doubt remains. So Prabhupada says long practice in impersonalism becomes a source of trouble because he cannot give up this idea. And finally, it is against one's real nature because constitutionally, we have a spiritual form. So we are trying to make our spiritual form as void. So it is not natural. So that's another reason it becomes very troublesome. So this is why, like Krishna says, the path of impersonalistic is troublesome and very difficult. This is from Prabhupada purport why it is difficult. Then on the contrary, why the path of bhakti is easy. So simply chant Hare Krishna, guidance of bona fide spiritual master, and those, hearing from a bona fide spiritual master, it's itself very pleasing to the heart. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Rasayana Katha, when devotees come together discuss about Krishna, it is very joyful. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, we saw in Ch12 Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tushyanti cha ramanti cha, Bodayanti parasparam. They come, they discuss about me, and they drive great bliss. So guidance from spiritual master, just talking to a spiritual master is very, very pleasing and nourishing. So simply chant Hare Krishna, which is joyfully performed. Guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Worship the deities. Then in the purport, Prabhupada distinguish between the idol and deities. So Prabhupada he has a lecture on this also, and Prabhupada compares the deities to a mailbox. Idols are just statues. Deities are bona fide representative. Like stamped by pure devotees. Krishna personally descends by the process of pran pratishtha or installation. And if we worship the deities, they directly go to Krishna. But if we worship any statue in the stores, then like I went to a gift shop, so many deities, so many um, like 3-dimensional form are there. They're all idols. Like there are like 100 sets of God Nitya. Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu is not present there at this point of time. So one devotee asked Prabhupada, I heard in New Vrindavan this. One devotee asked Prabhupada, when is the deity installed? Is considered installed? Is it during the Pran Pratishtha ceremony? Prabhupada says, when a deity is regularly worshipped, it's installed. Like if we are regularly worshipping the Lord, whatever it be, a daily arati, daily offering, the Lord start reciprocating through that, and that is installed. So Prabhupada clarifies between idol worship and deity worship. And deity worship is very, very pleasing. Those who are engaged in worship of Radha Gopijana Vallabha, they know how much reciprocation there is. Very powerful. Then hearing about the Lord, Bhakti, the path of Bhakti, which is very divinely pleasing. Then eating remnants of the Lord, which is an amazing experience. And Krishna says, for them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. And this is another reason why Bhakti path is superior and easier, because Krishna takes control of that devotee. Krishna says, I am the swift deliverer. Means immediately, very quickly, I deliver the devotee who worship in my personal form from the ocean of cycle of birth and death. So this is very very beautiful purport, strongly contrasting between, we discuss about Arjuna's question, impersonalism or personalism. Krishna says personalism is superior, is most perfect. Both eventually attain the same destination. We saw that Brahman, the path of Brahman is troublesome and very difficult. Then what is Brahman, we discussed. What is the path they follow, we discussed. Then why it is troublesome and we discussed. And on the contrary, why bhakti is easier, we discussed. So are we good so far?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Prabhuji, here under the worship the deities, there is the mailbox different from idols. I did not understand that.
Yeah, so Prabhupada says there is a USPS mailboxes. You go and put the letter, and the letter, that mailbox is as good as post office. You don't need to go to post office. You simply put the letter in mailbox. And there are so many mailbox all over. So likewise, all these mailboxes are deities. Anywhere, deities are personally Krishna. It's a Archa Vigraha. So you worship the deity, and it's as good as worshipping Krishna. Massaging feet of deity. So Prabhupada says mailbox is non-different from post office. It's a representative of post office. But idol is just statue. Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Anything else?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay.
Then good pranam.
Prabhuji, like you mentioned, like Prabhupada said that a regular worship makes like Krishna is there, right? So
Yes.
even in normal like Hindu temples, where they worship regularly, although like still they are there, like all the demigods.
Yeah, that's a great question. So it depends upon Bhakti Prabhu. How much deities reciprocate is depend upon regular worship, and how strongly they reciprocate depends upon the standard of worship Prabhu. Like we see in the temples, like in our ISKCON temple, the standard of worship is very high. And especially if the deities are being worshipped for a longer and longer time, there is a strong potency. Like so it all depends upon the standard of worship, the bhakti there, and accordingly Krishna says, as you approach, I reciprocate. Krishna reciprocate accordingly. But then Prabhupada also says, if you neglect the deities at some point of time, then the Lord will leave also, and that will just become statues also. So regular worship is the key. Does it help, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, but I mean in the Hindu temples also they worship with faith as per their understanding. with that it not be the same standard as ISKCON member, but whatever understanding they have, like in many they understand Shiva is the supreme god, and they worship regularly Shiva as like it, or Kali or Durga Mata. So at that point of time, like is the Durga Mata or Shiva is there in the statue?
Yeah, Prabhu. I mean, one devotee, Hari Pasha Prabhu says, devotees of Krishna are not found only in ISKCON. Devotees of Krishna are everywhere. So, if somebody is worshipping the Lord with love and devotion regularly, Krishna will certainly reciprocate, Prabhu. Even if it's a Hindu temple or any temple, wherever there is love and devotion, Krishna is attracted. Bhakti can win Krishna's heart. Is that all right?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. One quick question. So, for in case of regular worship, in case if we visit some place for some longer time, then in that case, what is recommended? Like if we go like 1 month or something for India visiting, for example, then in that case, what is preferred?
Yeah, okay, good question. So, Mataji, one option is we give the deities to some devotees who are worshipping regularly and they can take care. And I mean, I've seen sometimes devotees are hesitant to let somebody else worship because they feel like we don't know how they will handle. But if somebody is a devotee, then it's safe. So we can hand them over. That's one option. Another option is we take a picture with us, and the picture is not different from the deities, and we worship them wherever we are. We can offer the food to their picture, offer the arati to their picture, and that's considered regular worship. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji. So it means that it's not recommended at all to take deities with us anytime, right? When we travel somewhere.
It depends. Like there are sannyasis who take the deities with them wherever they go. Like we know Sagar Maharaj, he visits us, he carries Giriraj. Giriraj is non-different from Krishna. And I know like Chandramauli Maharaj, he worships Nrsimhadev. He carries with him wherever he goes. So it's not, there is no hard and fast rule. I know some devotees, if they're going for a longer time, they take the Gornitai with them. But then see whatever is convenient. If they're a small size is to carry, it's a personal choice. But the worship continues, whether in a picture from, whether in some devotee's home, or they're with us, worship continues.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So,
Thank
Prabhuji,
you.
we also
Anything
can take,
else?
we can take it, right? I mean, we can take the deities also along with us, and when we go to India, worship there.
Yeah, I mean, I know devotees, they have taken and then they felt, there was a custom and they were handled inappropriately, and there were some concerns that they thought better to have them being worshipped by some devotees here. So there are pros and cons, but independent of that, principle is worship should continue.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
Are we good?
Can talk. Dhanyavad Pranam, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question that if you're
Okay.
traveling and if you have to stay in a hotel, what do you do?
Yeah, so I mean, if you are carrying the deities with you, then usually we also carry all their paraphernalia and a clean cloth. Any table we use we keep a clean cloth, everything. So we carry everything with them. Or you can carry a picture worship, same principle.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. All right, so we continue from there. Now we come to the second section, which is progressive stages of devotion. Having established the superiority of bhakti in the first 7 verses, contrast between impersonal and personal worship is described. Now, having established the superiority of bhakti, the question now arises how to perform devotional service. Devotional service is the supermost, how to do it. So Krishna says there are various stages in how you can perform bhakti. In the next 5 verses, Krishna, beginning with the highest stage, describes the level of advancement in bhakti. And as you can see in this picture, the topmost is fixed mind in Krishna, which is very, very difficult for many of us because it requires strong attraction to Krishna, love for Krishna. Like when we love somebody, we will think about them. Like, like little babies, little children, or somebody under our care. When we have strong affection, we are always conscious of them. Likewise, when we develop love for Krishna, we will be in a very deep, divine, internal mood of spontaneous devotion. So that's like always fix your mind on me to attain. The result of that, we will live in relationship with Krishna. After we leave the body, we go to the planet of Krishna. Then those who cannot do it, like many of us, follow regulative principles of sadhana bhakti, and the result is develop desire to spontaneous return. And most of us are in that regulative principles of sadhana bhakti. Then those who cannot follow the regulative principles of sadhana bhakti, which Prabhupada describes, chanting 16 rounds, following the 4 regulative principles, that will help us to spontaneously become attracted to Krishna. But there are many who cannot do this. Then work for Krishna. Work for Krishna. Result will be, we will come to the stage of devotional service. And we have seen many examples. Devotees, Prabhupada did not distinguish between those who want to serve Krishna but don't want to chant, but those who want to chant, but those who want to chant. Prabhupada did not distinguish. Both good. As long as anybody coming to us and keeping Krishna in the center, we welcome everyone. And we welcome with love and care in such a way that eventually they will grow. We don't distinguish, or this devotee is not very nice, so I mistreat them. But if we mistreat them, then Krishna will not send more new souls because we are becoming instrument in taking people away from Krishna. At some point of time, we were also not very sincere. We were also very much disinterested. But then we were shown love and care, and that's why we are here where we are. So Prabhupada equally loved those who are like very advanced, those who are sincerely practicing regulative devotion, and those who are very new and don't want to hear and chant. Well, can you do this service, Prabhu? Very nice. We have seen examples of people just coming around. Some people take up regulative principles in 16 rounds fairly quickly. Some after 10 years of pot washing start taking up chanting. So anything done in Krishna service creates sukriti, which eventually qualifies them to perform the regulative devotion of chanting and regulative principles. So then work for Krishna. Then somebody says, no, I don't want to work for Krishna. Then Prabhupada says, then okay, then don't be attached to the result of your work. Give your work a good cause. Give your money in charity. Do some selfless service to others. So in that way, at least you will come, this way you will come to mode of goodness. And this way you will develop some renunciation. And those who are following this path, they will eventually, by the mercy of Krishna, will do some agyat sukriti, and that's how their good fortune will open, which is like unnoticed devotional service, and they will eventually and finally develop those who cannot give your work a good cause. Then Prabhupada says, that Krishna says, read some scriptures, do some kind of meditation. So don't be attached. Renunciation, practice renunciation. So at least try doing those things. So there are various ways Krishna, that shows that Krishna is welcoming everyone, whether we are at the bottommost stage or the middle stage. Krishna is encouraging us, take the next step, because ultimately the goal of human life is actually proper use of human life is to reawaken our original relationship with Krishna, which can happen by spontaneously loving Krishna. And eventually, gradually we will go there. Many times Prabhupada says it's a gradual process, and we begin from where we left off. Okay, so that's the only slide. The last one is renunciation, cultivation, knowledge, meditation, cultivation of knowledge, which is reading scriptures. Meditation, Prabhupada says even Brahman realization is good. At least come to stage of Brahman. If you cannot do that, at least worship the demigods. So there are various ways, but eventually everything leads us eventually to Krishna. Purification, peace, and gradual elevation. You feel peaceful by doing all these things also. Meditation, even even atheistic meditation is better. Like there are some people who are completely in gross sense gratification. They're longer way, but there are some people who practice yoga, who do some kind of pranayam, breath work, who are in mode of goodness. Then when they meet devotees, they are quite receptible to bhakti, and eventually they go to that path also. So it's a progress. So we welcome that also. Krishna welcome those also. We see those who are not in any of these things of mode of goodness, then for them bhakti is like state rejection. So it's gradual path. Take wherever you are, Krishna is constantly trying to help us to go to next level, next level, next level, next level, next level. So Krishna is welcoming everyone. Krishna is all inclusive. Then why should we exclude somebody from receiving Krishna's mercy? And the more we become instrument of Krishna, the more Krishna will send people to us so we can take care of them. Okay, any discussion on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, not on this, but previous, I remember one question on the
Okay.
previous we discussed. I know, I have seen few Prabhus, whenever they come, they take their Laddu Gopal to the temple, whenever they come. Every Sunday, actually, he used to come. And then he will bring his Laddu Gopal also to the temple. So is it good, even though just for an hour, he came to temple and he brought his duties.
Understood. Prabhu, again, there is no hard and fast rules. It's a personal choice, and we should also follow whatever we are inspired. There is nothing higher or lower. I know in Mayapur, many devotees during Sankirtan, they bring their God Nitai. We have seen many videos. They put the God Nitai on their head, and their mood is let God Nitai enjoy Kirtan. So it's a personal relationship. And Krishna also says, just be natural. So if you feel your Laddu Gopal should come, usually, if you ask me, do we usually do in ISKCON? Usually not. Because Prabhupada says the deity in a temple is not different from the deities at home. And Prabhupada says when you worship the deity in a temple, the deity at home is worshipped. And he also says, given a chance of worship at home and worship at temple and that will please the deities at home more. Another thing Prabhupada says, there is no need of having deities at home if you stay near to temple, because deity worship is included if you just put your energy in worshipping in the temple. So usually it is not seen. On special occasion like Rath Yatra, especially in Mayapur, I have seen people bringing their God Nitai, Laddu Gopal. Usually in ISKCON, we don't do that. But if you're really inclined, then it's a personal choice. So Prabhu, did I answer?
Yes, Prabhu, yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. I also have a question.
My humble obeisances, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, regarding work for Krishna, when we discussed that, the Lord says, okay, if you cannot even work for me, at least do some charity work or do some. Is that kind of a charity or anything done for others just like an ordinary philanthropic work, or does Krishna have to be in the center? Like, for example, I know certain people, they do philanthropy, but they don't have Krishna in the center. They're still doing it as no, we should be helping others. We should be helping others like that. So does that kind of a service is also included in what the Lord is saying, or necessarily it should be no, Krishna, I can't work for you. At least let me do some charity in your name for your pleasure. That Krishna has to be there.
Thank you. Well, if Krishna is not there, it's not bhakti, but then it's charity in mode of goodness, which is not pure because it's in goodness. So it's contaminated by three modes. When we take up to devotional service, we bring Krishna in the center of everything. But somebody who is not Krishna conscious, this philanthropy work will help him to eventually be attracted to Krishna consciousness at some point of time. When they are doing that, then somebody walks to their door and says, this is Bhagavad Gita, they will become receptive. They will be willing to listen to what we say. So that Sukriti is helping them. But once we have crossed this stage, we don't need to go there.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Dhanyavad Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When distributing Bhagavad Gita, do we expect donation?
When we give Bhagavad Gita,
Do we expect donation from them?
I mean, it is better. Now, here is the thing. If you know somebody is very sincere, they want to read, they don't have money, that's okay to give them. But if they give some donation, because we are going to use that Lakshmi and Krishna service, that is going to help them. So we encourage them, but if they cannot afford, we can give just free also.
But like if you put Bhagavad Gita, for instance, in a store, and we just say this is Bhagavad Gita, like they can take it free, like, you know, if they want to give donation is okay. Is that okay?
Well, that is okay. That's one way. Another thing what we have usually tried is we give something small book for free to capture their interest. And then we say, if you're interested, then you can take Bhagavad Gita. This is for this much donation. So we give them something. So even if they're not interested, Prabhupada says if somebody touches my book, they make progress. So that we want to help everyone. But then if they're not interested and they're taking just because it's free, then for those kind of people, reading Bhagavad Gita is anyways next to impossible. Even those who give donation take, they also cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. So we give them a small book because that will help them to understand more. Is it all right?
Because Prabhuji, we had in the temple here, the priest asked us to give Bhagavad Gitas, and the kids were graduating, so he was giving them the Bhagavad Gita. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is all right. There is nothing wrong with that. That is all right.
Okay, okay, Prabhu. Because I had a question with that for a long time. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dhanyavad Pranam.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, so now we are going to the last part, which is 26 qualities of a devotee. So Krishna says first is tolerant. I mean, they're all self-explanatory. All the 26 are defined. Actually, Krishna describes total 28, and 2 are included in one quality. So they are numbered, so devotees can see how they are 26 qualities. So tolerant, never disturbed by any circumstances. I mean, Prabhupada says the greatness of a person can be estimated by one's ability to tolerate the provoking situations. The nature of this word is somebody or other will provoke us. But if we can tolerate, then it's great, amazing. Then there is non-envious, kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Prabhupada says if you don't like somebody, that is envious. And one of the quality of devotee is like he is friendly to all. That is being non-envious. He loves everyone. That is being non-envious. He does not have or others may be envious of a devotee, but a devotee is not envious of them. So non-envious, kind to everyone, even to his enemy. Consider all reactions as result of one's past misdeeds. So this is quite clear. Then nirmama, freedom from proprietorship. So how it is described in the various commentaries, like Krishna says nirmama, nirankara, sama. So all these are combined into one, and these 3, and that's how it becomes 26. So nirmama is freedom from proprietorship, nothing belongs to me. And false ego, ahankara, nirankara, free from false ego, includes nirmama, includes proprietorship, because when we say this belongs to me, then naturally I'm identifying body, and this belongs to me, and I have my thing. So anything me belonging to me is a conception of false ego. That's why it's included in it. So freedom from proprietorship, free from false ego, know that I am not the body. Devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and troubles. of the body. I mean, this is more like for those who are very advanced. How is it possible? Prabhupada explains they're not disturbed by pain and trouble of the body because they are completely absorbed in Krishna. And because they are deriving a higher taste from serving Krishna, that higher taste makes them like go beyond the body. In a way, their consciousness is somewhere else on a pure Krishna conscious platform. So it's natural for them that they are not disturbed. And sometimes, we give this example when we are chanting or we are absorbed in kirtan, even if we are physically sick, at least for that time we forget. So that time, because we are absorbed in Krishna, we go beyond the level of body. So we just raise the consciousness. Prabhupada also says problems cannot be solved. Problems will be there at a mental level, at a physical level. But the only way is to transcend the problem. That's what we mean by material problem, spiritual solution, because don't try to solve the problem. Prabhupada says because in this material world, there is problem everywhere. Padam padam yadvipadam natesha, every step is a problem. We cannot solve them. Rather, we work on raising our consciousness and become more absorbed in Krishna. No matter who we are, threefold miseries will be there. Because nature of this world is like, people are always envious here and there. Even Rupa Goswami and Mahaprabhu met people who were envious of him, like Ramchandra Puri. Rupa Goswami met people who were envious of him. They want to come and defeat Rupa Goswami. They didn't like his position. They didn't like Lord Chaitanya. So as long as we're in this material world, difficulties will be there. There will be all kind of people, natural calamities, many things will be there. But then if we are absorbed in Krishna, then it doesn't matter to them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't matter to him. He took it as, this is Krishna's will. Krishna is speaking through this devotee. And Mahaprabhu took a humble position. Rupa Goswami took a humble position. And they are just so absorbed in their Krishna consciousness, they derive their pleasure only from the Krishna consciousness. The only goal of a devotee is, my Lord, let me sit peacefully and chant your holy names. Let me always remember you. Let me become absorbed in you. Anything up and down goes, it doesn't matter. Then mind is a source of trouble. But if the mind is engaged in Krishna service, then no more trouble. But otherwise, the three modes will act, and the mind will go into so many places. And then conflicts arises. And what is the reason of conflicts? Wrong assumption. We assume something presented by our mind. We assume this must be the case. And then internally only we create conflicts with somebody else. But then it was just the mind game. So the whole purpose is, the whole idea is absorb the mind in Krishna. So that's how they do not attach much to the pains and troubles of the body and externally. This will come when we become free from false ego. Then equipoised in happiness and distress. Then satisfied, whatever comes by Lord's grace. If Krishna provides this much, then we want to see this is what Krishna has provided and be satisfied with that. Instead of making endeavor of more of this and more of that and more of this. Why make personal endeavors? Why not be satisfied with what Krishna has provided? And why compete with others? This principle is there from a big level to a small level. Even at the level of prasad, be satisfied whatever Krishna provides. So this is something satisfied. In other words, when we are satisfied with our material arrangements Krishna is making, then we focus on, we try to find our satisfaction by becoming absorbed in Krishna. That is what the soul is actually hankering for. And then self-controlled, because completely fixed in instruction of spiritual master. That's how they become self-controlled. It is not easy to serve Guru. devotees who were personally serving Prabhupada, they said it is so difficult to serve Prabhupada because Prabhupada will ring the bell at 2 a.m. when he would get up and he would need something, he would ring the bell. So there has to be a personal servant who is outside. Whenever Prabhupada calls, he has to go inside. We see Narad Muni says, I served the Guru and I pleased the Bhakti Vedantas because I was self-controlled. Because you cook for them, they eat. If we cook for them, then we'll think, Maharaj, please eat less, so leave some for me also. So self-control means service is the principle. Then sometime they may, like it requires sense control. It is said that those who worship Guru can control their senses, and on the contrary, those who can become the master of their senses will become the servant of Guru. And those who become the servant of Guru, the result will be they will develop they will gain mastery over their senses. So Prabhupada says, how can we become self-controlled? By completely fixed in instruction of spiritual master. Okay, I mean, even those who are serving or they are traveling with the spiritual master, we see they get to sleep when the Guru sleeps, or whom they are serving, they sleep. Then they wake up before they make arrangements. So in a way, they really give up their own schedules, their own comforts, and what comes in the forefront is the service. Now, Gurus are not personally with us. I agree. We all have our own spiritual master, but the principle of instruction is there. What Guru wants me to do, and that will help us become self-controlled, sense-controlled. Like getting up early in the morning, chanting 16 rounds in the morning, doing services in the temple, not eating those which are forbidden food items. So if you are following the instruction of Shastra, coming through Shri Guru, taking a humble position, so naturally we have to control our senses. And that's why if we just follow the instruction, the senses will be controlled. Then there is determined. Then determination, Prabhupada says, comes because of sense control. Because what makes us lose our determination when the senses go haywire? We see Kala Krishna Das, he was attracted to the women in the Bhattadharis. So his senses became like agitated by the charm of these Bhattadharis women. And then he lost his determination to serve Krishna. And how do we gain the sense control? By following the instruction of Shri Guru. And then mind and intelligence fixed entirely on the Supreme Lord. This is another quality of a devotee. His mind and intelligence are fixed. Then not get affected. Always engage in Krishna consciousness. Such a stage is obtained by grace of Lord to the devotee. So Prabhupada says not get affected. So we easily get affected. The moment a little bit mind is disturbed, we get affected. So it is very easy for us to get affected. Prabhupada says, how can we not be affected by the situation, circumstances in this world? Only if we are absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says that is only possible by the grace of the Lord. Then does not affect others. No one is put into anxiety, difficulty, fearfulness, or dissatisfaction by such a devotee because he is kind to everyone. So if a devotee, suppose if we talk about ourselves, if we are kind to everyone, then we don't want to put others into anxiety because we love them, because we are kind to them. When we are envious of somebody, then we put others into anxiety. We don't want to put others into difficulty. Rather, we take the difficulty on ourselves. The kindness means, let me be in difficult situation, let the other person be comfortable, let him be happy. And when this is one of the quality of a devotee, then fearfulness, he does not put others into fearfulness. Rather, he is encouraging, supporting. It does not make somebody else dissatisfied because Actually, our own dissatisfaction causes when we are dissatisfied, we want to see others also dissatisfied. But when we are satisfied, then we want everybody else to be satisfied. We see pure devotees, because they are so fulfilled internally, they love so much unconditionally, everybody so much, like Srila Prabhupada, how he would give his love to his devotees, like genuine care, genuine warmth, and devotees can feel it because he was so happy within, he was so fulfilled within. Anybody meet him, they would see genuine love actually. Like His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj says, when we love Krishna, it will reflect in the form of compassion for others. Compassion for others includes being kind to everyone. So it does not affect others. And also when we do affect them, that's what causes our own, we are also affected in our spiritual lives. Then there is anapeksha, neutral, not dependent on ordinary course of activities. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he does not struggle to acquire it. If it comes automatically by Lord's grace, he is not agitated. So he does not depend upon circumstances, situations. He does not depend upon his arrangements. He knows Krishna is the doer. So he depends on Krishna. So if Krishna does not provide, then he does not go into anxiety because he see the hand of Krishna. If Krishna provides, then also he is not agitated because success, failure both have their own ups and downs. If he is successful, if Krishna provides, then also he is not agitated because he knows Krishna has a plan. So who are we? We are caretakers. We just want to use what belongs to Krishna in the service of Krishna. Whatever Krishna provides, then we think, Krishna, what do I do with this? And we know it is, everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna has a plan for everything. And I am just trying to become an instrument of Krishna, of how Krishna wants to use what Krishna has provided. So that's why he is not dependent on ordinary course of activities. He is not depressed and he is not like proud or agitated by success. Then there is Suchi pure, externally bathing at least twice a day. Prabhupada says, Brahmachari ones, you also take twice generally. Otherwise, Prabhupada says Brahmachari once, Grahastha twice, Sannyasis thrice, bathing. But at least one bathing a day is external cleanliness. And then internal cleanliness rising early in the morning for devotional acts. Then Daksha expert, convinced of authoritative scriptures. How is a devotee Daksha? Daksha, we see that in Mangalarati, 6th. Tatrati Daksha Dati Vallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. Daksha, expert. So how is a spiritual master expert? Because he is convinced of the Vedic scriptures. He speaks based on what Guru says. He acts based on what Guru says. He acts and speaks based on what Shastra says. So when he does that, because he knows Guru, Shastra, sadhus, they are perfect. So when he follows them, he is perfect. I mean, we know that we have 4 kinds of imperfections. Then how can we become perfect and expert? By removing ourselves from the center and by becoming living the life and speaking and acting according to scriptures. Then everything we speak is perfect. Why? Scriptures are perfect. Everything we do, the way we act is perfect. Why? Scriptures are perfect. That's how we become Daksha, expert. And then there is Udashina, without cares. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party. He is without care. Prabhupada says, if 2 people are fighting, don't take sides. When we take sides, when 2 people are fighting, then we will be intimidated also. So how can they live a carefree life? Don't take sides. Does not take part of a particular party, Prabhupada says. Then there is Gata Vyatha, pain-free, because he is free from all bodily designations. This we discussed earlier. Then there is Sarvarambha Parityagi, free from all endeavors, not striving for some fruit. Because a devotee is happy not in the result of the service, but in the act of service itself. Just the act that a devotee is trying to serve Krishna, he is happy with that. Whatever comes or doesn't come, he, like, one time Yugal Kishore Prabhuji was mentioning to me that he went to Maharaj. I mean, Maharaj was there, there were many devotees. He asked Maharaj, what pleases you the most? How many books are distributed? How much Lakshmi came? Or he gave some other options. So Maharaj said, endeavor, Prabhu. Just the endeavor our disciple puts in serving is what pleases the Guru. So just the act of service is pleasing to Guru and Krishna. So that's how he is free from all endeavors. Then I think this is the second last slide. Neither rejoices nor grieves over material gain or loss. Actually, many times, material loss happens, lot of pain comes because we feel like why to lose in this way? Better I would have given and used this in serving Krishna. Then if would have lost it that way, it's okay. But why to lose in some means other than Krishna centered? But actually, Krishna is not concerned about like if we could have given more to serve Krishna. But actually, Krishna wants us to develop renunciation. Actually, what Krishna does is wherever we are attached, Krishna will interfere there, and that pain that comes from Krishna's interference, because when our attachment is shaken up, that pains that come is will help us to become more renounced. Because the nature of this word is, if you are attached to this word, will come back. So what Krishna wants us to be attached to Krishna. His Shama Sundar form, his qualities, his names, his pastimes, his form. So Krishna wants us to attach there. And when we are too tightly bound to this material existence, then Krishna, out of his own kindness, want to free us from that. So when Krishna does not give or Krishna takes away, there is a material loss. A devotee knows that. A devotee tries to see that this is Krishna's mercy. Then he doesn't rejoice over material gain also, because he knows that it belongs to Krishna. I am a caretaker. Krishna, you have a plan where to use, what to use. Let me know how I can become your instrument, how I can serve. So then he lives a carefree life. Neither rejoices nor grieves. Then neither laments nor desires, not anxious to get a son or a disciple, nor lament by not getting them. So neither laments nor desires. So Prabhupada selling from a perspective of guru or a parent that does not even desire a son or a disciple. I want a disciple. I mean, this is on that level. So, and then neither lament nor lament by not getting them. So just, I mean, they want to serve Prabhupada. They want the welfare of others. The conception of I am the center is not there. Like I know Kalakanta Prabhu, he is one of my inspiration. So he trains young men and women in Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna. Anyone can hear me?
No, Prabhuji, we can't.
No, Prabhuji, we can't hear you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, can anyone hear?
No, Mataji.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mataji. I hope the message gets delivered to Prabhuji, but we can't hear him.
Hare Krishna. Can you make me host? Hare Krishna.
Oh, just a moment. Yeah.
Prabhu, try to make me host. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So does anyone remember where were we? What was the last quality that we were together?
Well, when you started talking about Kalakant Prabhu, it disconnected.
Prabhu, can you say again?
When you started talking about Kalakant Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. Oh, so we did not miss much. Just two qualities back. Okay. So we were discussing neither lament nor desire. Did I complete Kalakanta Prabhu's story?
No, Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. So not anxious to get a son or disciple, not lament by not getting them. So I was mentioning about Kalakanta Prabhu. He trains young men and women in serving Krishna. And many young and women, they take initiation from different spiritual masters. Like very interestingly, there is Mahatma Prabhu who serves in Alachua. There is Adi Karta Prabhu who serves in Alachua. They both are spiritual master. And Kalakanta Prabhu, Krishna House, Gainesville, is very close, 10 minutes away. So every Sunday, he takes them to Alachua temple. And they talk to Adi Karta Prabhu, they talk to Mahatma Prabhu, they talk to the different sannyasis, he invites them. Many of them end up in taking initiation from Mahatma Prabhu, Adi Karta Prabhu, or some other sannyasis in ISKCON. And Kalakanta Prabhu is not in anxiety. In a way, he is not attached to if somebody will become a disciple or not. He is fixed as a service to Prabhupada that I just have to train, and he's not thinking in that direction. Is how pure devotees, they are not fruitive in their mentality. So Prabhupada says here, not anxious to get a son or disciple, not lament by not getting them. Like it's very free state. When we are pure, we are very free. In a way, we are just engaged in act. Like his happiness comes from seeing the young men and women happily taking up Krishna consciousness, and he removes himself from the center, and he keeps the principle of service in the center, serving them. And then there is transcendental in face of all kinds of auspicious, inauspicious, sinful acts. So I gave two examples in this consideration. One example I spoke is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He told his disciples to, like, Saraswati Thakur invited a minister from Bengal government, and his desire was to build a road. If the government can help build the road from Calcutta to Mayapur, there was no road. It was like bumpy and like kacha, broken road, just muddy, mud road. So that vehicles can come. So Saraswati Thakur told his disciples that cook meat and feed the minister. So disciples, because of their faith in Guru, they cooked meat and they offered it to Guru. They arranged for that. So this was told to me by Sagar Maharaj in a leadership training in Mayapur. And Maharaj was mentioning how Saraswati Thakur was not thinking about what is auspicious, sinful, but he was focusing on serving Krishna, because his purpose was to serve the dham, so that the road can be built. And he was trying to please them, because he knew that if the government doesn't support, it's next to impossible to build the road from Calcutta, 4 hours road. Now we have proper road there. It was built during the time of Saraswati Thakur by his arrangement. Then there is another example of devotees ask Prabhupada, if you go to coastal area where there are only fish, there is no tomatoes, there is no cauliflower, nothing grows there. It's an island. Only thing that comes there, only fish. So Prabhupada says, then eat fish and preach there. So Prabhupada even relaxed the regulative principle for the sake of preaching. So I was also sharing how the gopis, they were, like Yugal Kishore Prabhu says this many times, they were willing to suffer if the dust from their feet can help relieve Krishna's pain, Krishna's headache. So a devotee is not much concerned about what is sinful, what is auspicious, what is inauspicious, but they see service to Krishna in the forefront, and they don't worry about what is going to happen to me. But they're satisfied in the act of, okay, here is a chance to serve Krishna. So this is one thing, transcendental in the face of all kind of auspicious, inauspicious, sinful acts. That's why Chaitanya Charitamrita also says, Vigyana Bhuja, Vaishnavira Kriya Mudra, that the activities of pure devotee should not be questioned, because they're inconceivable. Why? Because those who are following regulative principles, they cannot conceive pure devotees' activities. Mahaprabhu says, if Nityananda Prabhu goes to the bars and pubs, don't judge him. So, because they are beyond auspicious, inauspicious, sinful acts, and they are fixed in their service to Krishna. The next is equal to friends and enemies, and we were discussing how Sandayana Markate asked Prahlad Maharaj that your consciousness is being polluted by the enemies. How have the enemies infiltrated your mind? We infiltrated, coming in the school and teaching you. Where are they coming from? Who are those? Prahlad Maharaj says, out of illusion, you are thinking somebody is in friend and somebody is an enemy. And we see, like, they have a strong conception, Hiranyakashipu and others, they have a strong conception. Those who worship me are my friend, and those who don't do what I say, or those who don't worship me, are my enemies. But Prahlad Maharaj was saying everybody as a part and parcel of Lord. He was saying to Hiranyakashipu that whatever powers you have come from Krishna. And he was trying to advise Hiranyakashipu that he should also surrender to Krishna. So a devotee, because he sees everybody as part and parcel of Krishna, so he tries to give them Krishna. So when there is compassion, when there is kindness, there cannot be enemy. So this is equal to friend and enemy. And then equipoise in dualities. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that our devotee is free from duality, because duality arises from the bodily conception of life. Duality means I like something, I don't like something. And the whole principle of I like something, I don't like something is based on based on the enjoying spirit, based on I am being the center, and that arises the conception of duality. Now, one devotee asked, one brahmachari, he asked Kalakanta Prabhu that Prabhu, like in gains of Krishna, in Krishna's Gainesville, there is like quite a friendly environment between men and women in a way, just because Western culture needs it. It's like Prabhupada also was very liberal from that perspective. In that way, Prabhupada had beautiful results. So one brahmacharya asked Kalakanta Prabhu that it's very disturbing to be with women in the same Krishna house. And Kalakanta Prabhu said, just don't distinguish, because they are just physical bodies. This is male and female. It's a mode of passion to consider one is a male, one is female. And reason for repulsion is because of attraction. And then he says, always remember this one verse. Um, um, uh, what is that verse? Sunicheva Sopakija Pandita Samadarshina. So Kalakanta Prabhu said, just remember Samadarshina. Just see that everyone is part and parcel of Krishna and everyone wants Krishna. So in that way, our devotee is free from dualities. Then always free from association. Naturally, a devotee has devotee association. Then silence implies to speak only of essential, satisfied, happy in all condition. Sometimes get palatable food, sometimes not. This connects to previously what it says, being satisfied with what Krishna arranges, not making personal arrangements. So in that way, he's satisfied, does not care for any residence. He's not like picky about things, but he sees Krishna's hand and he's satisfied. Why? Because he's satisfied in serving Krishna. He's satisfied in being Krishna conscious. And a devotee, when he's fulfilled within, when he is happy with his own service to Krishna and his own, then there are many people who go for book distribution. They live in a people live in a very, very austere condition. They live in a car throughout like months, or whatever minivan they have, and they find great satisfaction in their morning program in the van. They do 4 or 5 devotees, and they eat very simple prasad, whatever one meal they cook for, they eat the same thing morning and evening. They're not much concerned about their living condition. They distribute books, talk about Krishna, and then in the night they drink hot milk, they read Krishna book, they sleep, they get up in the morning, do the morning program, chant together, enthusiastically do kirtan, go and do harinam, talk about Krishna. So because they are so absorbed in serving Krishna, they're not much concerned about, it's actually very austere. I mean, to use bathroom, it's like, like in a van, it's quite austere. There were some devotees, they came from like 30 devotees came from Gainesville. They came in a bus. There was no rooms in New Vrindavan. So 4 days they were sleeping in a bus only. In a bus. And this devotee was telling 30 devotees sleeping in a bus all the 4 days. Just come out and they're enthusiastic about Kirtan, Mangalarti, doing service, attending seminars, doing various things, very happy. And then they go. So they were not much. One devotee, I asked him, I said, Prabhu, this is very austere. Then he said, yeah, it's little austere, Prabhu. We cannot even sit. It's like 30 people. How can they live in a bus and sleep in a bus? And they are telling they're doing this for past 7 days. They're a little austere, but it's very nice. Just because there's a loving relationship amongst devotees and they are all together and they're all serving together. I said, Prabhu, this is nice. So this is one quality. Otherwise, when we become too picky about our things, no, I need this kind of bed sheet, I need this kind of comforter. We become too self-absorbed. And if we don't engage ourselves in serving Krishna, if you're not putting our energy in how to serve Krishna, then we will become too absorbed in how to serve ourselves. Prabhupada says all mind problems will go away if you use the mind in how to spread Krishna consciousness movement, how to serve Krishna more, how to serve Krishna better. When that becomes a priority, then we will in one of the Bhagavatam class, I think there was Raj Vihari Prabhu or Kalakanta Prabhu, one of them were mentioning that when we make others' problems our problem, then we forget about our problems. Then we forget about our problems. So we want to become absorbed in serving. If we are not absorbed in serving Krishna, then we'll become super absorbed in how to serve myself. And then we'll complain and find fault. Like Yugal Kishore Prabhu says, he told me one time, he said in a Bhakti Vriksha, if not many new people are there, then people who are inside will start fighting amongst each other. So everybody needs to be engaged in how to spread, how to serve. And their joy comes when our joy comes from serving, then we go beyond ourselves. So does not care for any residence, fixed in determination and knowledge. And then again your devotional service. So there are 9 here, 11 here, 8 here. So that's 19, and then 7 here. So there are total 26 qualities. And there's a last slide, or second last slide. One who wants to be recognized as a devotee should develop all good qualifications. Of course, one does not extraneously endeavor to acquire these qualifications, because engagement, Krishna consciousness, and devotional service automatically helps one develop them. So Prabhupada says among these 26, the most important quality is mind and intelligence fixed on me. I think this is, if you see here, this is 7th quality, mind and intelligence fixed entirely on the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada in the commentary, Jiva Goswami mentions in his Sandarbhas that out of 26, 25 are auxiliary and one is primary. And primary is fixed in devotion. And by engaging in primary quality, the auxiliary will come automatically. So Prabhupada says a devotee does not put extraneous endeavor, but he tries to become mind and intelligence fixed on serving Krishna. Then others will naturally come. One who is not a devotee, Prabhupada says, has no good qualification. Anybody who is not a devotee has no good qualification, because they enjoy either mode of goodness or some other modes. Like I used to work for this company in Holland. It's called Gentex Corporation. They are a big company with like few thousand employees, and the CEO of that company, who lives here only, he would come in a cycle. He would go and eat in common stores like McDonald's and other places, live in a simple house. So everybody would think he's a great soul. Why? Because he's coming in a cycle, he eats at McDonald's, he maintains a very, very humble disposition, although he is like big. But according to Bhagavatam, they have no good qualities. I mean, I'm being blunt here, because they enjoy simplicity, and that is mode of goodness. It's still a material mode. I mean, he's in mode of goodness, but then it's not transcendental. There is no Krishna. There is no escape from cycle of birth and death. But then there is pride in that I am very humble. I am being respected by everyone for this quality of mine. And they take pride in going to McDonald's. They take pride in running a bicycle. And when others use this feel great, then they know others are feeling great about me. They enjoy that. So no matter what a person is, one may say this person has so many good qualities, but Prabhupada says in the purport, a person has no good qualities. Unless one is devotee of Krishna, he has no good qualities. Good qualities, because good qualities is not from what is externally visible. Good qualities is internal thing. Why they're, how they're acting, Krishna does not see how they're acting. Krishna sees why they are acting the way they are acting. Why? What is the intention behind it? And the intention behind anything is I am the enjoyer. Then where will it's self-centric again. So one who is not a devotee has no good qualifications. Those who follow this imperishable path of, and this is the last verse, those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So Krishna says, those who are, Nirmama and Nirankara, those who have these, they are dear to me, dear to me, dear to me. But those who follow this devotional service, very, very dear to me. In other words, bhakti is primary. So, beginning with this chapter began with Brahman or Bhakti, Bhakti, and we discuss a lot about difference between Brahman and Bhakti, how Brahman is difficult, how Bhakti is easy, what is Brahman, what are their practices. We discuss something from translation purport. Then how to practice Bhakti. There are various levels. And then again, those who practice Bhakti develop all these qualities. And those who have these qualities are very dear to me. But one who is most dear to me is who practice mind intelligence fixed on me, fixed on devotional service. So the conclusion of 12th chapter, by good association, one develops attachment to pure devotional service. Then one accepts a so first there is sadhu sangha, then one accepts a bona fide spiritual master. Then one begins to hear and chant and observe regulative principles with faith, attachment, and devotion. Once Guru comes in life, Guru's instructions, then one hears and chants um, with faith, devotion, observe regulative principle. Impersonal path is beneficial as long as one does not have the chance to associate with pure devotees. So this is very interesting. Prabhupada says impersonal path is beneficial as long as one does not have a chance to associate with pure devotees. So we don't reject people who have impersonal conception. We don't hate them. We treat them with love. We accept them, and then gradually we give them the correct understanding. How Krishna is both. How Krishna has everything within him. And then we gradually help them to become devotees of Krishna. So Prabhupada says impersonal path is also good, because at least you are having a conception of someone superior, taking shelter of somebody superior. At least you want to go beyond the cycle of birth and death. At least you have the understanding of miseries and nature, temporary nature of this material world. So there is great realization. So Prabhupada says that is good. But once you meet a pure devotee, then practice pure devotional service, which is direct bhakti yoga. All right. So that's the last slide. Let's see if there are some discussion. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have a question for you.
Mataji, Dhanvatam, Hare Krishna.
Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question that nowadays I see on the corner of the roads, people with big board begging for money or whatever. And with me, with a compassionate heart, I see Krishna in them also. Because the mom and the dad and the little kid is sitting there on the corner and begging. So what do you do? Because when I see Krishna in everyone, I'd like to give something. So
Give them prasad.
so is it okay to do that?
Yeah, definitely. We should give them prasad. Don't give them money.
Oh, prasad.
Because they have free will. If they misuse their free will, then we will be incriminated. So give them prasad.
But if we're traveling on the road, Prabhuji, we don't have prasad with us.
Yeah. So, I mean, like my spiritual master says, whenever devotees go out, they should carry prasad. If you don't have anything, instead of money, just pray for them. Or if you have something to give them, not money, that they can use, that's all right.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay, because I might go tomorrow somewhere on the road and I see that and I was confused, so thank you very much for Prabhuji enlightening me on that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad Pranam.
Thank you. Then that pranam. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dandut pranam, Atul Nimai Prabhu.
So one question, Bhuji, and the last slide, last qualities of devotees. So one point was mentioned there, contaminated association, right? Away from.
Yes.
So can you elaborate in contamination in here? What are
Means bad association.
Yes.
Anything, any association which is not conducive for our progress in bhakti is bad association. Anything that gives us desires to the desire to be an enjoyer, bad association. Desire to make us ascend to bad association. Good association is what inspires us to selflessly serve Krishna.
Okay.
Rupa Goswami says 6 qualities that are favorable, and he says one of them is giving a bad association. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked who is a devotee. Mahaprabhu says Asasangatyagai Vaishnavachar. One who gives a bad association is the achar of a Vaishnava, the ethic, the life of a Vaishnava. And Maharaj also says our mind is a bad association for us. So we don't trust and don't believe what mind says. And we pray to Krishna and act according to Guru Sadhu Shastras. All right, thank you, Prabhu. Anything else? Okay, so we'll end here. Tomorrow we will release the assignment 2, and we can have the exam next Saturday for 7 to 12. Anything on that assignment exam? Are we good for that?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. All right. And then in 4 weeks, actually, I'm going to India. So maybe we will have our discussion 4 Saturdays and 2 Wednesdays to cover the 6th chapter. So I want to finish the Gita course before I leave. Okay, so we will end here. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. Vanchakalpa tarubhesha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Dandavat pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you
Dandavat
so much,
pranam, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank
Hare
you very
Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare